Welcome, everyone, to CDO Magazine series of one-on-one interviews with CDOs, data leaders, and key influencers. I'm your host, Robert Lutton, Vice President, Sandhill Consultants, coming to you today from Toronto, Canada. On behalf of the CDO Magazine, I have the pleasure of introducing Derrick Higgins. Derrick is the head of Enterprise Data Science and AI at Blue Cross Blue Shield for Illinois, Montana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. Welcome, Derrick.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be with you today.
The pleasure is all ours. And if I may, I normally start with a couple of background questions. So for our worldwide audience, could you tell us a little bit more about Blue Cross Blue Shield, what it is, what it does, for our audiences that may be outside of North America?
Absolutely. So Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, Montana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas, as you said, is a health insurance company, or as we say, a payer, on the payer side as opposed to the provider side. So there are a number of Blue Cross Blue Shield companies in the United States that all do business under this Blue Cross Blue Shield umbrella. There's a Blue Cross Blue Shield Association also located here in Chicago, but that's not the company I work for. My company is Blue Cross Blue Shield of those 5 states, otherwise known as Healthcare Service Corporation. And we serve the function of managing healthcare reimbursement operations, essentially paying for healthcare claims for the members that we cover. So we sell healthcare plans through a variety of channels, through the commercial market, so employer-based health insurance, the retail market, so folks who buy individual health insurance for themselves, and also through the government market. So we have plans in the U.S. such as Medicare and Medicaid that are government sponsored and cover many Americans.
And as the population is getting older, it's definitely a busy, business for healthcare payers such as yourself. So thank you. Perhaps I mentioned a little bit about your title, that you're head of the Enterprise Data Science and AI. Can you just give us the highlights of what that involves on a kind of day-to-day basis?
Sure. So as head of enterprise data science and AI for the company, I'm really the individual who's most accountable for ensuring that we as a company are realizing the benefits that AI and machine learning have to offer in our space, that we are using it appropriately to make our member service more intelligent and responsive. So there are lots of processes that we as a payer are responsible for. Clinical requests such as prior authorization processing, claims handling to make sure we pay claims in a timely way and in an accurate way. And to the extent we can use modeling to make those processes more efficient and effective, we're going to serve our members better. And so some of that involves building capabilities. They have a pretty large team of data scientists and engineers that deploys these capabilities, but a lot of it also involves strategic engagement with vendors and with startups who have unique capabilities in this space to make sure that we are leveraging best in breed.
So you're definitely the guy to talk to on AI, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So diving right in, we want to talk about data-driven innovation, because you mentioned there, during your introduction on what you look at, especially when you look at those companies that may have some new products coming out. So we know that data-driven innovation is critical to the economic growth and the improvements of quality of life, obviously, if you're in the healthcare business. I'm more interested in what you see as the business value outcomes from a leadership point of view that you're driving towards in data-driven innovation.
Yeah. In my organization, we try to be very disciplined about how we think about business value and how we quantify it. One part of that is always financial, and my area is accountable for a certain target in ROI. We work closely with our actuarial partners within the company to come up with and validate hypotheses about how we think our capability development is going to have an impact on the business, if there are operational efficiencies that we can gain, if there are new sources of revenue that we can tap due to the use of AI. those are things that we do quantify and are accountable for. The other side, though, is more challenging to quantify and an important outcome as well. That's around member experience and serving our members better. So we are a not-for-profit insurance company, and so while we want to make sure that we have an appropriate operating margin to stay in business, we also are speak very clearly about our need to support our members. Our purpose as an organization is to stand with our members in sickness and health. So if we can improve clinical outcomes for our members, and improve our digital portals so that there's a better member experience, that's important to us as well.
It's great to hear that balance. Sometimes organizations don't have that balance, and of course, that's where the benefit of not-for-profit organization comes in. So moving on to the kind of aspects of the as a C-suite leader, as a executive, right? We're seeing successful leaders in organizations are becoming not only data-driven, but as you're showing in your background, we're seeing a push for becoming much stronger in data and analytics. But we're not sure on this. So this is the kind of jury may still be out. So for our listeners, could we ask you for your thoughts on whether you believe that to be a successful data leader in today's organization, you have to have a strong background in data analytics? And if so, why do you believe that?
So, Robert, thank you. For folks listening who may not know, I come from a more technical background, so I have a PhD, and I worked as a data scientist and a researcher in natural language processing for many years. So, I still like to look at code, and I'm, just by inclination, more of a technical person. And what comes less naturally to me, and it's been a learning experience for me, is more this engagement with folks like yourself. It's sort of communications and the personal side of things. Other leaders come from a very different perspective, may come out of an MBA program and not be as familiar with the technical underpinnings of the work. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think different people can succeed with different profiles. I don't want to go too deep into a sports metaphor, but you can have people play the same position with a different set of tools and succeed if they're on the right team, if they surround themselves with the right people to complement that. So, I like what I do, but that's just me. And I'm sure that other people can succeed with that sort of less technical profile.
Well, I did have a look at your background, and I do, you've got a very impressive background. You've definitely earned your stripes in the AI, machine learning, and artificial intelligence area. So thank you for that. And I'm sure Blue Cross Blue Shield is delighted to have you at the helm in those core areas that you serve. So let's go on and talk a little bit more about the value delivery, if you don't mind. There's been a huge investment to digital over the past several years. Could you talk about, if it's possible, where you can talk about the value delivery that you, and I believe you talked about you quite a large team, that you deliver through enterprise data and analytics?
Yeah. So as I said, we have a target that we're accountable for in terms of financial value, but then we try to also make sure the team is incentivized and understands the need to deliver according to non-financial metrics. And one of the ways that we do that is through this concept of smart healthcare internally. We have, in our business plan, we've really called out this concept of smart healthcare very clearly, which is this concept that we're trying to make the delivery of care and our role in the delivery of care much more intelligent and allow us to serve our members better, so that they get care in a timely way, they get appropriate care, and generally they have a positive experience with us. So in order to incentivize the team to think about their role in creating this smart healthcare ecosystem, we have a target as well of smart healthcare use cases, where we have a demonstrable impact on the healthcare ecosystem that makes our delivery of care more tailored and intelligent for the needs of individual members. And I'm happy to say we are well above our target for this year in terms of delivery of those use cases.
But it really makes a difference when industry experts like yourself are willing to share your knowledge, your successes. And I'd like to congratulate you for the successes that you've done at Blue Cross Blue Shield. So on behalf of the CDO magazine, we'd like to thank you for your time today. And we really do appreciate that. We hope to have you back to talk about maybe AI 101 and how things are proceeding at Blue Cross Blue Shield at a later date.
This was a great conversation. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all ours. And for our listeners, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.